Good morning and welcome to the Bee Formless Flow Driven CEO podcast. That took me a little bit to get out there. And, today we're going to talk about life, leadership, and business. And I have the wonderful Lauren Mayfield here joining us today. Welcome, Lauren. Oh, I love that.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Good, Lauren. How are you? And Lauren, you're all the way over in
I am doing,
Dallas in Texas, and it's six
yes, I am.
p.m. there.
Yeah, it's dinner time here. We gotta love it.
And look at you, you're all sitting outside in nature. Oh my God, so amazing.
I have to have my sunshine. That's my vitamin for the day.
Yeah, vitamin D is so important. Lauren, it's what, 9 a.m., quarter past 9 here, the day before we have a break for Easter. So that's pretty cool. But I'm super excited to chat to you today. I won't say this morning, I'll just say today. You're a compassionate healthcare advocate, and you're the founder of, I love this, Hearts Medicare Advising, and it's Texas-based
Yes.
consultancy. And you're dedicated to
Mhm.
guiding individuals through the complexities of Medicare. Is that right?
That is correct. And it stems from the greatest of stories. One that hits me as close to home as I can. May I please share?
Of course. Like, it's over to you now. I want to hear all about your backstory, the complexities of the healthcare system, because we obviously have Medicare here as well, and it can be complex. So go for it. I can't wait. Yeah.
Thank you so much. When I was 16 years old, I was driving in my Volkswagen Beetle with my best friend in the car. It was a few days before we started our junior year of high school. We were going around to her house. She kind of lived in the country, and we saw a couple of guys in a truck that we had the biggest crush on. Well, being silly teenagers, of course, we started a game of cat and mouse. We followed them, and they'd follow us. And we were just having fun flirting in our vehicles. Well, flirting with the boy wasn't what I was flirting with. I was flirting with death.
Wow.
I went around a curve I was not familiar with and went into a skid, turned away from the skid, hit a ditch, and flipped 8 times in my Volkswagen Beetle, aka Roly Poly. I shattered my skull in 9 places. They couldn't find any life in me when the medical surgeons came. When the ambulance came, they couldn't find any life. So they sent my body in the hospital to the life flight to the hospital, not thinking I would make it 5 minutes, if not the whole ride. I arrive at the hospital. My parents were notified as super quick, and they were just kind of told the grim news that your daughter's not going to be. Not only I was in a coma for 2.5 months, never supposed to come out of the comatose or vegetative state. I had a severe traumatic brain injury that the doctors operated on, but they thought it was too severe for anything to be done. 2.5 months later, I came out of that coma. When you come out of a coma, you don't just wake up. You have to grow up from newborn state again. I had to learn how to walk, how to talk, how to feed myself, how to exist all over again. And since I was 16, I was too old to do it in the NICU area or with the little kids. So they put me with the next age group that this injury happened to, with Alzheimer's patients, with stroke victims. I was the youngest at 16 with seniors. But we saw each other as peers. We were learning how to walk, how to talk, how to do everything all over again together. We'd have wheelchair races and walker races to the cafeteria. But I would see the children of these older individuals come and say, Mom, Dad, we can't afford physical therapy and Medicare's not going to cover it this month. Sorry, it's not in the picture. And we'd be going from the wheelchairs to the walkers. And that mom or dad would sit there and melt away because they couldn't learn again. That just broke my heart because that was my network when I was in the hospital. I got out of the hospital and graduated somehow with my class in high school and went to college and started in the job hopping. And I got one job as a temporary sales agent at Physicians Mutual, an insurance company. They were having me sell Medicare supplements. They taught me everything I was selling and handed me this thick Medicare handbook, said, you don't have to read this, just it's my law, we have to give it to you. due to my brain injury, for some reason, I could understand it and break it down into layman's terms. They gave me a long list of numbers of people looking for help, that they would sign up in doctor's offices for help finding Medicare, not to read the fine print saying you are just being sold to for supplements. I would take those numbers and call them, and I would help them in the right way. My sales numbers plummeted, but I helped people understand what they needed and how to get it. I lost that job at Physicians Mutual because my sales numbers weren't high enough. And I sat in a restaurant with my husband, and he consoled me and said, you know what, you found something you're good at and you're passionate about. Get your own license. I know you can do this, and we'll start your own business. I passed with flying colors, a test that people usually fail 2 or 3 times the first try. And I started Hearts Medicare Advising, a non-biased Medicare advising where I don't get commissions for selling. I help that person find what that they need for their medical situation. As Medicare is like a fingerprint, it's individual to you.
Wow. My gosh, what a story. Like, you know, in terms of just talk about the face of adversity and having the most craziest, severest near-death experience I've ever heard of. Or, you know, kind of one of the top ones I've heard of in terms of, yeah, and what a remarkable recovery. And look at you now, and look at you flourishing.
Thank you.
And yeah, like, yeah, and just proving that nothing's impossible, everything's possible. I think there's a Audrey Hepburn quote there. My mum talks about it all the time. And I don't know if I've got that.
And I have a little twist on my story, too. When I had my traumatic brain injury, my skull was shattered in 9 places, including behind my eyes. It grew back too much too quickly, and I have no vision out of my left eye and severe tunnel vision out of my right eye, so I am legally blind. But I can see some things that some people can't.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like how the benefits in Medicare can help you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've used it, you know, like, I mean, I did my own research on you, and, you know, I obviously didn't know this part of that. Talk about going off the beaten path. You know, you talk about that on your profile. And the lived experience.
I don't usually fly my flag because I hate people looking down on me. I do have a white tip cane that I use. If I use that, people avoid me like I have the plague. And I'm a people person extrovert.
Yeah.
So I'd rather fall down than be avoided.
Yeah. And it's so great of you to actually highlight that as well, in terms of, you know, such a lived experience, and, you know, this whole full heart, and working with people that, you know, you completely understand and have seen firsthand, but also experienced it yourself, and still somewhat experience it today, in terms of, you know, like,
yes,
you said, you want to be treated normally by normal. You are an individual person, you know, with a lot to do in this world. How do you stay, because you seem like such a positive person and so optimistic. Are you always like that? Is this like, I mean, in terms of how do you keep your own heart full? And I'm kind of just jumping straight into questions right now, but it's kind of just been something that's bubbling inside of me.
You know how when you lose your phone, you miss it so desperately, and you're so happy when you find it again? Think about life exponentially. I basically had lost my life, and I got a second chance to live it again. So I am so happy for everything, even if it is for falling down. It's the chance that I get to get back up again. I'm grateful for that. I'm happy because I get to talk to beautiful people from Australia, and I get to share everything. I have a collection. Every time I find someone who speaks a different language, I find out how to say my favorite phrase, I love you, in their language. I'm at 108 in my collection.
Wow.
Ich liebe dich. Ik is verju, South African. Sini Sevioro, Turkish, Je t'aime, French. I just get to love on people in every way I can.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Like it is amazing. You're living and breathing this full hearts. So what do you find is what's kind of probably the biggest challenges that you see that your clients are facing with the system at the moment, and what are you doing to work with them to I guess make it easier, or how are you supporting them when they're, for example, have a huge form of adversity happen to them or whatever, like where do you step in, and what part of the like when do you step in and start to support them?
With full hearts, I am always flying my flag and at every event saying, sign up on time. The Medicare system is full of penalties and regulations. Did you know that Medicare is actually different in the United States per state?
No.
It varies. In Maine, there are around 4 plans. In Texas, where I live, there are around 140.
Wow.
Most people only know of the 4 basic ones. There's so many penalties involved if you choose a wrong plan. If you sign up late, you get penalized 10% per year that you sign up late, capped at 80%. And how many people are wanting to retire at 65, but they want to continue on with their work life? And they can't afford to retire now. So they're not going to sign up for Medicare because they're not on Social Security yet. I have to teach them what plans to sign up for at what point in their life. And if they do sign up late, how to negotiate with the government. It can be done, their penalties, because maybe they were misinformed. And there are several loopholes. And of course, it takes an expert to know that.
Yeah, that's quite incredible. And do you work with all like ages in terms of it doesn't matter at what stage of life they're in? Like how do you, yeah, what's the life cycle of the sort of people that or clients, customers that you work with?
In the United States, Medicare is available as soon as you get your Social Security benefits, which for most people happens at 65 years old. You qualify for your Social Security benefits, which is a tax put on in the US government. But some people don't know the small loopholes of Medicare. If you qualify for a disability Social Security check, you qualify for different plans of Medicare as well. They might pay not as much, but you can avoid the penalties of signing up late if you know which plans to sign up for when. Most people I work with are retirement age of 65 and older. Some people smacked their heads and said, I wish I had known you when I was 65 because I could have gotten all these headaches out of the way, but they come to me when they can. One of my great doctor friends is 65 years old, and he always hears me harping, don't wait until it's too late, sign up at 65. So he went to a website he thought was go to sign up for Medicare, to be exact. He signed up and he said, Lauren, you'll be proud of me. I signed up for the right plan on Medicare.com. I looked at him and said, please tell me you meant Medicare.gov. He looked at me and said, what? Medicare.com is an identity website. You have to be so careful and with who you share this private health information. Your Social Security number, your credit card numbers, your work information. And of course, all of that is taken in on a Social Security site. He gave all this information and we put a Band-Aid on his identity theft. Then I took him to the actual Medicare.gov site. Here he is a doctor and it looked like Greek to him. I slowly broke it down in small chunks, explained everything, where you put what. And he is one of my biggest flag wavers here in the States, saying she actually knows Medicare and I'm a doctor and I can say that.
Yeah. So you're almost providing empowerment through education, right, as well? Like you're empowering these people to give them it's almost like, if I think about what you've been through and, being told, you probably were told a lot of things in terms of your, limits around your recovery and a brain injury and all that sort of thing. And, I'm not trying to, I guess, I'm not trying to like downplay that at all, but you can relate in a way from the fact that they're told, for example, well, this is just how you do it, or like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just kind of going, it feels like you intuitively tap into something that they are being blocked by because you have been told that too, and then you have to navigate through this complex system. So it's not just it requires intuition, it requires kind of trying different ways and and I guess testing different things to be able to get through. Like am I making sense there at all? What I'm trying to say?
You're hitting it straight on the head. I have experience, and I'm lucky to be have experience at a young age with a miraculous recovery to be able to help other people who are struggling for different reasons. But even though I have a visual disability, I see the struggles and I can help. And
Yeah,
I do with a whole heart.
yeah. But for me, and I've got a just full transparency. I've got I and I had a corneal transplant, so I have someone else's cornea in one of my eyes. So with my glasses on, like when I show people my actual, I say try these on, like my script is so full on, like why not? Like it's just like how do you even wear those? But I think that sight is sight and, you can see things and what you're talking about. But listening to you and even kind of how I operate, that full heart, you feel and you sense. And when you're talking to someone, it isn't just looking at them from a visual sense. I get the feeling that you sense, you feel their voice, everything. It's a holistic kind of, you get a holistic view on people is kind of what I'm sensing from you, and that's that intuitive piece as well. Like even us talking right now, like we're connecting, we're flowing, and so put vision aside, I still think we would be either way connecting like this. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I see. I see. I understand. I guess I should, and I feel you.
Yeah.
I open my heart and I don't just listen with these ears. I don't just see with my eyes. I try to understand with every bit of the brain that I still have and with all the heart that I know I have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, sun's setting here in Texas, so the tree is going to be.
No, that's okay.
There we go.
That's totally fine. And so, how do you then what in terms of your work ethic and how you work, etc. Is it in a very fluid, non-linear way in terms of so that you're keeping your own cup full as well? And yeah, how I mean, you must have a lot of people that you're serving, helping, supporting. How do you manage your own ensuring your own cup is full, because I could only imagine the amount of people that are like looking for you to help them navigate through the system, the healthcare system. How do you ensure you keep yourself and your own cup full?
I actually only run full hearts. I wish it was a job that would sustain me, but so many people here in the States would rather trust an insurance salesperson to sell them the right plan instead of an advisor who would tell them which way to go. Because the salespeople get commission and you don't have to pay them on the front end. And they seem like, oh, yeah, your services is good. I'll go with this guy over here, but you have good services. And not many people know to invest in their health, in my sense.
Right.
So I do work a side job, full-time job on that note during the day at a vision insurance call center.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, well, I mean, because you're pioneering a new way, right? So this is where it's kind of like
Yes.
you're pioneering a new way. It's a future, it's a different way of looking at the healthcare system. And, I quite often find that it comes back to this linear versus non-linear approach, but also the whole that people generally have a tendency to stick with what they know and kind of the status quo, and especially with the likes of probably health insurance and things like that. And it's like, I love what you're doing, for example, from what you're saying, but then it's like, oh, but is that a bit of a risk? And should I just go with what I know? So it sounds like you're a bit
What's been done for hundreds of years of someone making profits.
yeah, And so you're here pioneering, you're going off on the beaten path because you know, and from your own lived experience, there's a different way to do things.
Speaking of different, I think I mentioned Medicare unenrollment.
Yeah, yeah.
Medicare Medicare comes from your Social Security taxes, and comes from every American's paycheck from the first day they work. That's just the tax that comes out of your check. And most people sign up for their Social Security benefits as soon as they can get them at 65 years old. One of the loopholes in the system is whenever you sign up for your Social Security check, they force you to sign up for Medicare as well as a benefit. You can't just get your Social Security check. There's no way about it. Well, what about for people who don't need their Medicare, who have VA insurance or an education teacher's insurance or with the Railroad Commission? What do? There is a loophole in the system that I found, and I found it much digging, much hard work, much blood, sweat, and tears for one of my customers. He is a retired Marine who is also a retired police officer who had PTSD and diabetes type 2. He just kind of looked at his Social Security check as beer money because it's a teeny weeny thing. And he's like, Lauren, I see you can rock the Medicare. Can you see if you can get me on a better plan that I can get a little more out of? I looked into his situation, saw he never touched his Medicare, so he didn't need it at all. He had coverage through the VA that took care of him like a spoiled baby. And I told him this, and he's like, well, what can I do? I can't just not sign up for it. I found a loophole in the system, and we applied 5 times for him to be unenrolled from Medicare, and we got declined, got a declination letter, email saying, nope, not going to happen. The 6th try, I found out who to contact at what time, and they said, we'll give you a hearing. You'll need a representative at your hearing. They, talking to him, said they'll have to have an IBN number, but we'll give you a hearing. An IPN number is what you get when you get your insurance license in Texas, and no one else offered a service of Medicare unenrollment, so I stood up proudly, did all the research on the reasons why he needed to be unenrolled from Medicare, how it would benefit him and benefit the country, and I stood in front of that board and presented his case. They escorted us out and said, we'll be deliberating this. 2 hours later, he happily got a letter saying, sir, you have been acknowledged in your right and you have been unenrolled from Medicare. Thank you for your service to this country and good luck with your medical expenses and how you would like to pay them. If you want to re-enroll in Medicare, we will have a penalty and discuss going forward, but here you go, have fun. What used to be a maybe $30 Social Security check is now $900 a month for this gentleman that I have helped.
Yeah, wow.
And no one else. I've searched on the internet and I can find no other individual who helps with Medicare unenrollment. And it is something to go through. So that's something I'm very proud to be a pioneer in.
I feel like you've got this such an incredible grit, this incredible, like you just got this kind of, you never give up. Talk to me a little bit about that, in terms of, is that, did that come from, have you always been like that, even pre when you had your accident? Like excuse me, sorry.
Isn't tight.
Thank you. But is that something that it's been innate in you since you were like a little child, or is that something that's got more stronger as you've faced like extreme adversity and things like that? Like, how do you keep going, and how do you keep going not just for yourself, but for these clients and customers? Like, you seem to never give up.
I was given the chance to give up when I was 16 years old in the hospital, and they were telling me I'd be nothing more than a vegetable. My brain was starting to work again, and I was dead set, no, I'm going to do more than that, and I'm going to exist again. I'm not just going to vegetate. I'm going to exist and have fun and be a person again. And it's my fighting spirit that I'm not going to give that up. It's going to take that back. I don't have it now, but I stated I'm visually impaired and legally blind. I found out in the state of Texas, you can still have a driver's license if you have enough vision. I did for a little while, my car insurance company kind of had something to do with me turning it in because I'm a horrible driver without depth perception, but I can drive. I'm not going to give up unless forced to, or
Yeah.
it's my choice,
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
for
That's
better
just,
or worse.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And something really insightful there in terms of, I think we're all at times told that, you know, just give it up. Just give it up. Like even from a business perspective, you've probably, the fact that you're juggling two jobs because you're in between, you're pioneering this new way forward and how to unravel a system that is so complex. But yeah, you're not giving that up and you're not just going back to, the previous world you were in from a career perspective. But you're also, going, all right, well, I need to have something else going whilst I'm pioneering this new way. It seems that you also are really good at kind of um the ability to adapt as well in terms of well, if someone says no, and I'm quite like this as well, if someone says no or just give it up and just go back to doing this, it's like, who says? And there's got to be another way around this. And so it's like, how do I then, how do I then find a way? And it seems that you always seem to find a way, no matter what is coming up in front of you. And that's not for the
Loopholes are my
faint-hearted.
specialty.
Yeah, yeah,
I enjoy being able to turn a no into a, well, maybe, no, no, but. Putting that but at the end of it means it's not just a hard no. It means you can get something. Maybe it's a hard no and no, you cannot drive safely, but still try.
yeah.
Oh, this, by the way, is one of my navigations of a no. It's a bandage that I had to put on my finger from the hedge trimmer. My depth perception is off, and I didn't see how far away the blade was when I was trying to support it from the underside. Just the tip, just a tip.
Just
But
yeah. You seem
if
to
it's
just
going to take something, go ahead.
no, I was just about to say like I just your energy and your full heart and just always looking at the bright side, someone who has been through what you've been through, and I say this at times to clients and I say it to myself, we're not saving lives here, like, and you talked about this need to live life and have fun and talk to me a little bit about that in terms of that as a philosophy for you around living your life to the full heart and ensuring you have fun. What do you do each day to ensure that you are living to that mantra?
Each day I wake up and I understand what it is, how much of a blessing it is to be able to wake up and not just be in a hospital bed surrounded by beeps and buzzes and what's a full night's sleep? Who needs a full night's sleep? You're going to be sleeping and laying there all day. But to be able to get up, sit up, whether it's 5 in the morning because I got to get early to my job because my ride comes at 6, even though I don't start the shift until 8. Oh, public transportation, what's that in my area? Of course not. I live through it because I always have something that someone else has lost or is looking for. So why not be happy you have it and share it if you can? And love, when you share it, it doesn't deplete you, it multiplies. I have a habit of talking to everyone, and whenever I hear someone has an accent or they seem like they might be from somewhere else, I ask them, what languages do you speak? And I learn of their culture and how to say I love you in their language. And it's pretty interesting because I don't just get how to say I love you in their story. Well, my grandmother used to say when I was young, she used to tell me like this. This is how someone says it from a husband to a wife or a wife to a husband. But this is how my grandmother would say it to me. Or, well, I've been married to that guy for 27 years. The way he said it to me when we first met was this. And I get a story and a piece of it. And I love being able to share that with them. Having them share it with me multiplies it and makes it solid in the universe and not just some fleeting moment in the past in my head. I enjoy taking that with people and telling people about Yeah, I know I look normal, but did you know there's a little sheep in my forehead? Half my nose is tailbone marrow. People look at me and I'm like, well, let me tell you about this car accident I was
Yeah.
in. And yes, I am very grateful for my plastic surgeons.
Oh yeah. 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 Well, Lauren, there's just so much we could continue to talk about, but I am conscious, it's probably time to go and have some dinner and, and chill. And I have really, really enjoyed our chat. You're a woman of just, oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm going to walk away and today I'm going to be like, wow, like in terms of just that if something gets me down or whatever, it's just the perspective and the reminder of, each day and how grateful we need to be for each day and waking up, like you say, and finding those little moments of joy and pockets of joy. And the fact that you're also, out there beating the drum of, making a change and a positive impact in a complex world is just amazing. Do you have any final words of wisdom or anything you want to leave with us, just in terms of to reflect on?
One that I tell almost everyone I meet is I'm kind of a giggler, but it kind of goes with what I'm seeing things from my point of view. And I'm saying those things with emphasis for a good reason. Why do blind people hate skydiving?
No idea.
It scares the living crap out of the seeing-eyed dog. They don't know until the ripcord for that parachute till the leash goes slack. You have to take everything you have and laugh about it and with it and take life to its fullest with a smile.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I said that to somebody the other day. You got to live your life to the fullest. Like it's just what it's about. We're in such a space and place at this point in time in the world where there's so much upheaval. There's just so much going on. And, even yesterday I was at something and, we were talking about fear and we can allow fear to take over, or we can also just go, you know what? No, I am going to continue to pursue what I'm pursuing. And I feel like you're epitomizing that in terms of there is no such thing as, you know, um, not being able to try and to give it a go. And, just that those last leaving comments. How can we find out more about you, Lauren? Like, where's our best way to? I'll share it in my notes, but yeah, where do we hear more about what you're doing and the impact you're making in the world?
I'm on Facebook as Lauren Mayfield, LinkedIn as Lauren Mayfield. I have my own website, fullhearts.care, and my final website, which is my work in progress, is a resource for 50 and up, just getting everything where they need to go. Is let me get to make sure I give you the right one. Been kind of juggling on this one. It is. Sorry, 1 second.
I don't apologize. All good.
It is lifelinkassociation.com.
Cool. Lifelinkassociation.com. I'll add that to the notes. Lauren, thank you so much. I always come away from these type of conversations a better person myself. And, another part of my heart grows in terms of just, learning and listening to someone. And you're an amazing woman and, have a wonderful evening. And I can't wait to see what else you do out there in this world and breaking down this system for, the people that need it most and making it easier, more accessible, and doing it all with a full heart. I just love that. So thank you.
Thank you, Bee. I hope you have an amazing day too.
Thank you. You too.